going.
Well, it's okay. You,
It's not 7 yet.
sorry. It is. We can't see everybody.
All right, we will call to order the Board of Education regular meeting. It's Monday, January 13th at 7 p.m. The Board of Education makes available at least one current copy of the Open Meetings Act, which is posted on the west wall of the meeting room and accessible to members of the public. Will you please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First up is organization of the Board of Education as we start the new year. Mr. Alexander.
Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is swear in our new members. So if Marisa and Aaron would join me down in front, we will swear you in.
I got my own.
You need Eric. If swearing Eric as well, or
Eric, no, well, yeah, come on down.
Okay, I'm sure you go.
yeah, so excited.
He's a vet. There you go.
Stop your memories. I was like, no, wait, go.
Okay. I state your name,
I, Marisa,
do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely and without mental reservation
that I take this obligation freely and without mental reservation
or for purpose of evasion,
or for purpose of evasion,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of the school board of school district number 15 of Beatrice, Nebraska,
and that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of the school board of school district number 15 of Beatrice, Nebraska,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
And I do further swear that I do not advocate,
And I do further swear that I do not advocate,
nor am I a member of any political party
nor am I a member of any political party
or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government
or organization that advocates the overthrow of the government
of the United States or of this state by force or violence,
of the United States or of this state by force or violence,
and that during such time as I am in this position,
and that during such time as I am in this position,
I will not advocate nor become a member
I will not advocate nor become a member
of any political party or organization
of any political party or organization
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States
that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States
or of this state by force or violence.
or this state by force or violence.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you. All right, so welcome to our new members and Mr. Book as well. We appreciate all of your service and your paychecks are in the mail. So for your first night of service, we do appreciate your volunteerism and service to our community. Next is the election of officers. So at this time, I would open the floor for nominations for the office of the President of the Beatrice Public Schools Board of Education.
I nominate Eric Trusty be elected as president to serve a term of 1 year.
Okay, so I have a nomination for Eric Trusty. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Eric Book. So I have a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, can I have a motion to cease nominations and a unanimous ballot be cast for Eric Trusty to serve as Board of Education President for 2024?
I move that nominations cease and a unanimous ballot be cast for Eric Trusty to serve as president for 1 year.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So with that, we congratulate Eric Trusty.
Thank you.
You are now in charge of the meeting.
All right, appreciate it, thank you guys. Next up, we will take nominations for vice president. Do I have a nomination?
I nominate that Doris Martin be elected as vice president to serve a term of 1 year.
Okay, we have a nomination for Doris. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brandon. Sorry, what was that? Do I have a motion to cease nominations
And a unanimous ballot.
and a unanimous ballot be cast?
I make a motion to cease nomination and a unanimous ballot be cast.
Okay, thank you, Erin. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. And Doris will become serve vice president again?
And the oldest person on the board, both in age and length of service.
All right, now we move on to secretary and treasurer and recording secretary. Do I have a nomination for secretary?
I nominate that Dr. Jackie Nielsen be appointed as secretary of the Board of Education.
Okay, thank you, Doris. We have a nomination for Dr. Nielsen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Are there any nominations for secretary? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to, well, let's just go ahead and vote on it, yeah. Seeing none, I'll take your votes. And Dr. Nielsen has been appointed secretary. All right, next up is treasurer. Do I have a nomination?
I nominate that Mr. Jason Alexander be appointed as treasurer of the Board of Education.
Okay, thank you. We have a nomination for Mr. Alexander to be treasurer. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any other nominations? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion or nomination passes. Next up for nomination of recording secretary. Do I have a motion, please?
I nominate that Daniel Fairbanks be appointed as a recording secretary of the Board of Education.
Okay, thank you, Doris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second for Daniel Fairbanks to be the recording secretary. Can I have your votes, please? All right, that passes. All right, next up is committee appointments. So as per Board of Education Policy 8151, the President of the Board of Education shall annually appoint board members to the standing committees. Now, this year, I would like to table the nomination of committees until the February meeting. And the reason being, I want to review the board policy 8151, and we have that in discussion later on. And then the goal would be to have a little bit of discussion tonight, some discussion at the January CAL meeting, and then appoint committees in the February meeting. I think we're okay doing that. If anybody has any issues, please let me know. That'll just give us some time to review this. This policy, I think, does need some reviewing. There's committees on here that we have not utilized in the past, but there's also some committees that we have not utilized that I think could be of importance. So we'll review that later in the discussion portion and at the CAL meeting. Is everybody okay with tabling that?
Yes.
Do we need a vote to table that?
It would be good.
Yeah.
Motion to table.
Could I get a motion for that, please?
I move that the appointment of committees be delayed until the February meeting.
Okay, thank you, Doris. We have a motion to table the appointment of committees until February. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric, and your votes, please. And motion passes. All right, now we will move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the consent agenda as presented, including approval of minutes of the regular Board of Education meeting on December 9th, 2024, approval of the proposed accounts for payment, approval of budgetary receipts and expenditures for December 2024, approval of option students, approval of the purchase of a 2021 Ford Expedition for $36,099, approval of the resignation of Emily Wendland, elementary ACP, and approval of the contract for 2024-2025 for London Ruprecht, elementary special education teacher.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any items on the consent agenda that any board member would like to pull off for further discussion? Okay, seeing none. Jason, do you have a treasurer's report as well?
So for the month of December, we saw general fund expenditures, payroll was $1,814,572. Bills were $1,670,307, which brought the grand total of expenditures to $3,484,880. Revenue for the month was $2,703,983. We are now 1/4 of the way through the budget cycle, being through December, so we are currently just under our budget of expenses by 1.91%. This is fairly typical for our district, but given the amount of HVAC repairs and equipment purchases we have made, I would say this is a good sign, because as you know, we have been trying to get a lot of those repairs made as they come along, and need to. So we're in good shape. There's continued work to be done on the HVAC, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more, and also vehicles as we continue to upgrade our fleet that is quickly reaching the expiration point on the 10-passenger vans that is changing federal law. So those things are all to come, but that's the report.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, discussion on the consent agenda? All right, seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. All right, moving on to outstanding recognition, employee of the month, Dr. Nielsen.
Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Timmerman, who is going to come on up and.
Just come on up, because
Yes.
I wasn't tricky this time because I forgot. So I just had to go up and say, hey, JC, will you come to the board meeting? Congratulations. So, full disclosure. So our January employee of the month is Mrs. JC Blackburn. We would like to congratulate you for being the January employee of the month. Mrs. Blackburn is a 3rd grade teacher in the district and is very deserving of this nomination. She significantly improves the lives of their students by fostering a positive and safe environment where they can thrive emotionally, socially, and academically. She takes the time to understand each student's unique challenges, particularly those with difficult behaviors, and develops strong relationships built on trust and respect. Mrs. Blackburn works tirelessly to implement individualized strategies that help her students navigate tough moments, building their confidence and helping them succeed in school. Her ability to patiently guide students through their challenges allows them to feel valued and supported, contributing to their overall well-being and growth. Mrs. Blackburn puts all students' needs first and is willing to make tough decisions and have hard conversations to benefit all of her students. Mrs. Blackburn's calm demeanor and collaborative spirit are an asset to the entire school. She not only excels in the classroom, but also plays a key role in the behavior team, working closely with colleagues to support students across various settings. Her constant willingness to go above and beyond to meet the students' needs contributes to the positive school culture where student success is at the center. By sharing her insights and strategies with others, Mrs. Blackburn helps create a cohesive approach to student support throughout the school. Her grace under pressure sets an example for others, making her respected and a reliable team member. She has made a significant impact on her students' lives, particularly those who face the greatest challenges. Her ability to remain calm, I've never seen her frazzled, like it's always just right here. her ability to remain calm and face the greatest challenges are definitely her strength. Mrs. Blackburn's collaborative approach to education, professional growth, and her unwavering commitment to the well-being of her students make her deserving of this recognition. She truly is a standout educator who enriches the entire school community. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I need to send.
We tried to tease her, trick her with her mom, but it didn't work. Mr. Ford, you want to come up here too? Hold on, let's
Okay.
Congratulations. Now you can go back to the senior or wherever you need to go.
All right, congratulations, JC. Next up, business friend of the month, Mr. Alexander.
Okay, so typically, as you all know, we have a business friend of the month that we recognize during this portion of our meeting. Unbeknownst to the Board of Education and pretty much everybody in here, we have a different recognition tonight that we've tried to keep secret. I have not told anybody, not anybody, except for family members that are here tonight. So tonight we are very fortunate that our own Dr. Nielsen gets recognized, and I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I tell her everything, so I couldn't tell you this, I'm sorry. But we have a special award for her tonight, and Mr. David McBride is here to present that award, so I'll let you take over.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm Dave McBride, I'm the Program Director for Nebraska Foundation for Children's Vision. Our foundation's mission is to try to make sure that every student across the state of Nebraska has the vision care that they need to succeed in school and in life. And our mission exists because we know about 80% of what children learn has some connection with vision. About 5 years ago, our board made a commitment to find a way to take additional vision care to underserved students across the state of Nebraska. We wanted to look for a new way of doing that. We had a chance to write a grant that would allow us to do a pilot program for providing comprehensive vision exams and free eye care for underserved students. We needed a school or a school district to partner with. We didn't exactly pick Beatrice's name out of a hat. Full disclosure, Jackie is my wife's niece, so we had kind of an in. So she was the first call I made. We were looking for a school, though, that was going to have to put in some work with us on figuring out how to do this. It was going to take some work to figure out how we could make it work to provide the care in the way we wanted to do it. And we wanted to get data from this project and from subsequent programs that would help us indicate or prove the impact that providing vision care has on kids that need the care. So Jackie could have politely declined, but fortunately she didn't. And we conducted the pilot program right here in this room, actually, about 4 years ago. The project, from our perspective, and I know from yours, was certainly successful. But the impact of that has gone well beyond Beatrice and Beatrice Public Schools, which leads me to be here 4 years later. As a result of that pilot project, we've taken a template from that program and been able to do a similar project that's benefited about a dozen other schools and has served over 350 additional kids over the last 4 years. We've got 2 templates in place now that will make it possible for additional schools and communities to run this kind of a program, provide this kind of care for underserved kids across the state of Nebraska. As a result of this project, we've gotten a lot more validation and buy-in from the State Department of Education to the work we're doing. And they're collaborating with us now on how we can expand the kind of a clinic that we did in Beatrice to other schools around the state of Nebraska. We've got data from the other schools that we've done this program with based on the kind of data that Jackie was able to share for the kids we served here at Beatrice. And that data is going to have an impact for us in impacting public policy about vision care for kids across the state. In addition to that, Jackie has been an advocate for us for vision care to her peers and colleagues. She came out last fall to Kearney to make a presentation to the Nebraska Optometric Association annual conference and share an administrator's perspective with doctors of optometry all across the state on how they could better interface with schools and school districts in meeting vision care needs of students. And that presentation and that work is going to impact the work that doctors of optometry are able to do with the education system across the state. So that leads me to be here tonight. Our foundation last year created a new award to recognize particularly significant and impactful work that's being done to help us with our mission. The Nebraska School Vision Care Advocate Award is designed to be presented in recognition of noteworthy contributions to the promotion and delivery of vision care to students across the state of Nebraska. Our board voted 2 initial recipients of this award, looking back over the last 5 to 10 years of work that we've done in terms of things that have been most meaningful and most impactful. And one of our first 2 recipients is tonight's. So it's my pleasure to present our Vision Care Advocate Award with our appreciation and thanks to Dr. Jackie Nielsen.
We need a picture.
Now I know why everyone's here.
I figured you figured something was up.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Do you want there, or I can get one from Jason?
All right, congratulations, Dr. Nielsen, and thank you, David. Next up, information portion. Start with the student update. Amy.
Okay, preschool and elementary. December was a month full of celebrations at Beatrice Elementary. The best is that they officially celebrated a semester of learning at their new building. Other events that have been happening are they had a successful breakfast with Santa for preschool, had their first snow and navigated that well, and they want to give a huge thank you for the Bobcat that helped clear so much snow. They celebrated first semester learning with awards. This Monday and Wednesday, they will be having a breakfast for the top growth for reading and math. They had a successful Golden Spatula celebration for lunchroom behavior, and lastly, had a whole school Polar Express event that was so awesome. They toasted in the new year with their staff and are looking to continue to grow as a building. The middle school. BMS students and staff have gotten second semester off to a great start. The boys wrestling season has begun with 35 boys out, and the girls basketball season is underway with 30 girls out. BMS Hope Squad will be starting a Warm Our Hearts campaign to bring in donations of hats and gloves for those in need during the winter months. Students are working hard in the classroom. First semester students turned in 97% of all assignments assigned, and their goal is to increase that number this semester. The high school. We've been really busy at the high school with holding events. This past weekend, we hosted our wrestling tournament and had a total of 29 schools and around 375 athletes compete. We are at the halfway point for all of our winter activities: speech, basketball, wrestling, swim and dive. This week, mentor classes are reviewing SRP protocols and cell phone expectations. Another Freedom Friday will occur this Friday. Finally, all students are adapting to the new schedule, and it has been a total success so far.
All right, thank you, Annie. Next up, board reports. We'll start with the stance report.
So, yep, Stance held a Zoom meeting only on July 9th with topics revolving around a review of the first day of the 109th legislative session. January 9th. Did I say July? Sorry. January 9th. Topics revolved around the first day of the 109th legislative session, including the election of committee chairs, which is where we spent most of our time in discussion. And Senator Merman was reelected as the Education Committee Chair, so we'll work with him for another 2 years. There was discussion around possible legislation impacting education. for the session and what might be coming. Most of that is just speculation at this time, so I'm not gonna go too far into that. But I will keep you updated. The next meeting will be January 22nd, and also a Zoom-only meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Next up, negotiations committee.
The negotiations committee has met 5 times and will meet again tomorrow afternoon. Negotiations are progressing nicely this year.
Okay, thank you, Doris. All right, next up is the time for public forum comments. I did not receive any requests to speak tonight, so we will go ahead and move on to the discussion portion. First, we will start with discuss and consider possible changes to BPS District Number 15 Board of Education regular meeting times and Committee of the Whole meeting dates and times. Mr. Alexander.
So we began the discussion just about looking at the calendar and I think we'll start with Board of Education regular meeting times. And Eric had brought this up and said, let's have a discussion about this and see what the rest of the board thinks. So I'll just turn it over to you.
Yeah, over the past few years, obviously the regular meeting, we meet the second Monday of the month at 7 o'clock. The question that I brought up, is there a potential to move the meeting from 7 o'clock to 6 p.m.? I think 7 o'clock gets pretty late. Then if we're at 6 p.m., I did have kind of a discussion with a lot of the board members. Nobody really had any issues with that. It just gets us out of here a little bit earlier if we need to be. I even had a discussion with the media. For the most part, they didn't see that as an issue, so brought forward that time. And then the second piece is typically we've been holding our Committee of the Whole meetings on Thursdays. And as we bring on the new board sitting here, and even the past few months, Thursday night seems to be a heavy activity night for both high school and middle school, and a lot of us now on the board do have kids, grandkids, whatever, nieces, nephews that are in a lot of activities, whether it's sports or theater, speech, whatever that may be. So just really looking to see if there's a potential to move the Committee of the Whole meeting to a Monday night as well, where typically that is a less heavy activity evening. Granted, there's occasions it does happen where we've got, whether it's conference or sub-districts, but it's less likely that a Monday would cause as many conflicts as we've had in the past. I know just personally, pretty much since the school year started, it's been very hard for me to attend on Thursday nights just because of activities within the high school. So that's really what we're looking at. It isn't board policy, so that's why we're having the discussion tonight, to see if there's any issues, comments from the board, discussion, open for that. Please speak now if you have any questions, comments.
I'm comfortable with moving the Committee of the Whole meeting as long as it's held in this room. I will not vote to move it to a small conference room.
And I think that would be an issue that we would have. We would have to hold it in a small conference room.
I think that's wrong. That's uninviting to people. Well, I thought we talked about the 4th Monday. What's wrong with that? I thought doesn't the city council meet the 1st and the 3rd? Or do they do a committee meeting? Yeah.
They meet first and third Monday, and they're adding now their work session to before one of the regular council meetings if they need one, so.
So then it would be okay. Okay.
I'm okay as long as it's in this room, but I think it's really wrong to move to that really small room.
So what date would we be able to have this room? 4th?
The 4th Monday.
Would that be too close to a board meeting? Or I guess it wouldn't be, because we'd be 2 to 3 weeks away from a board meeting.
Yeah, it'd be about 2 weeks after, so, after the board meeting, which is, just looking ahead at the calendar, should be okay.
What would be the 4th meet?
Are there always 4 Mondays in a month? I don't know.
At least.
Yep.
The mathematicians among us.
Yep. And then, do you want to stick with the 7 o'clock start time?
We've met at 6.
Or,
We
I
didn't
mean,
go home at 6.
I'm sorry, the 6 o'clock start time.
That's up to the group. I'm okay to move even a little bit earlier on the Committee of the Whole, but it just depends on people's ability to get here after work. I could go 5:30, We've typically done 6 o'clock, but I'm okay, whatever others.
I'm all for moving the times up and then moving committee of the whole to that
Monday.
fourth Monday if it works.
Would anybody else have any issues with a 5:30 one time per month committee of the whole meeting?
I'm flexible.
Doris? Aaron?
I'm okay with 5:30, fourth Monday.
Okay. And then is everybody potentially okay with 6 o'clock for the regular board meeting? Still would remain on the second Monday?
My only concern would be, do we need to check with the city council to make sure that this room is actually open on that fourth Monday? Are we guessing that, or are we sure? I don't wanna vote to have the meeting and then find out we don't have a space.
It used to be they did council meetings first and third Monday, work sessions on the fourth Monday, what you're choosing now, but they changed that to go to 2 nights, first and third Monday, and on the third Monday, if they need a work session, which I think they're gonna have this, they add it right before the regular meeting, so the fourth Monday ought to be open, or the fifth Monday if there is one.
Yeah, and the city website confirms that the next city council work session is Monday, January 20th. So, I mean, we can reach out to the cities, but their website does say the 20th, when typically it's
Okay.
the 27th.
Okay. So I think we're all in agreement to look at regular board meeting, same time frame except move to 6 p.m. versus 7 p.m. and then move the committee of the whole to the fourth Monday of the month at 5:30 p.m. to accommodate us to hold that meeting in this room. Okay? Any other comments, discussion? And again, that's a discussion item at this point. And do we have it as an action, Jason, later on, or?
We do.
Okay. So yeah, we would vote on that later on. Next up, policy 8151 standing committee. So as I talked in the beginning when we voted to table the policy assignments for this year, I did look at, and to be honest, I don't know that how often we reviewed this policy, but policy 8151, which is our internal board policies around standing committees. Currently, there are a number of committees listed on this policy. And again, just tonight I want to discuss this a little bit, and then I would like to have further discussion during the January committee of the whole so that we can kind of finalize this and then set committee assignments in February. But just going down the list, obviously we have negotiations committee, which we'll continue to have. I mean, there's no reason to change that. And then committee on American civics, which I believe is the state statute that we have to have that, so that would not change. There's the next 4 committees we have never really, or at least in my time on the board, we have not assigned board members to. The third one is transportation and facilities. There's also a budget committee, policy committee, and administration review committee. And I'm gonna kind of go to Doris. Have you ever, in your history, do you remember using any of these committees?
No.
And then the 7th one, school, community, and staff relations. And then the last one is committee of the whole. So obviously committee of the whole is the meeting that we will continue to have. But I think really looking at this, so numbers 3 through 7, transportation facilities, budget committee, policy committee, administrative review committee, and then school, community, and staff relations committee. Those would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 committees that I would like to have a little bit of discussion around. And again, if there's other types of committees that the board may see as an interest that we need to form, obviously willing to discuss that. I think, for example, the Transportation and Facilities Committee, in my opinion, may be an important committee that we do have. For example, when we're, discussing a lot of the HVAC renovations, whatever that may be, middle school, and then when it comes to busing and so forth, that may be a good committee to have a group of board members be part of. Same thing with the budget committee. I know when it gets to be budget season in the summertime, Jason typically tries to meet with different groups of the board. Obviously, we can only 3 of us at a time so that it's not a quorum, but it's more of an informational. Well, that could then become that committee that he only meets with, and then discussion obviously with the full board of committee of the whole, and then obviously approval and discussion at the full board meeting. Policy committee, I don't know, that's another one where I would maybe question, because a lot of the policies we do review on a regular basis, and then when they come up with legislative changes through new bills and so forth, we typically are notified by our legal counsel. Jason brings that up, and then I'm really not sure on the administrative review if that was initially brought up for, I guess, a review of Jason, maybe.
I'm thinking that some of these committees were in place before we did the committee of the whole meeting.
And that could
Because they used to have meetings and they would meet at different locations, and I think they decide, well, number one, they would hold those meetings like at 11:30 in a little conference room at the high school. Well, it was very difficult for the public to attend. They were very cumbersome. So I'm guessing that that's why those are in place. I think the committee of the whole serves the purpose that those once did.
I would agree 100%, Doris.
I don't think we need them.
And then the other one is the School Community and Staff Relations Committee. I've been part of that for a number of years, and in the past when we had all of the different buildings, we would schedule time that the group of the board members that was on this committee, they would attend these schools, they would meet with staff. Recently, we didn't really do any meetings last year, but the last time we did this, a lot of times we were meeting with principals for the most part. And I guess, as a board member, if I need to meet with Mrs. Timmerman, I'm going to schedule a meeting with her. So I'm open to any suggestions, discussion around this, but I'm just not sure which committees we want to continue to have, or as Doris mentioned, do a lot of these kind of fold into the committee of the whole meeting.
I think the idea behind the school community and staff relations is good. It's finding a time that works, and now with just one elementary, it would be huge. I mean, that wouldn't be probably maybe you would have to have a couple meetings, but I think you have to find the time when teachers, I think it was really good for the board to be able to meet with teachers without administrators there, but it's difficult to find that time when they can come. I don't know. I'd like to see us at least make an effort to continue it in some form or fashion, maybe make some changes. But that's the only committee that I think would be worthwhile. Just do some investigating to see if it would still be valuable.
Any other comments from board members? Again, this is more just discussion tonight, and we'll further discussion at the committee of the whole meeting.
Well, yeah, I was assigned to the community and staff relations, and I appreciated the opportunities to visit the buildings, visit the people that came out and had some good discussions. But it does take a bit of planning.
Okay, well, like I said, we will further discuss at the next committee of the whole meeting, and then kind of go from there, and at the February board meeting, we'll make committee assignments. All right, next up, action portion. First off, approval of legal counsel. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 designate Perry Law Firms or KSB School Law to be representatives of the Board of Education.
Okay, thank you, Doris. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any other further discussion around this? I would assume not. Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Next, approval of Jason Alexander as the district's federal grant representative and financial representative. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve Jason Alexander as the district's federal grant representative and financial representative.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any discussion? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Next, approval of the depository banks for Beatrice Public Schools be named as Pinnacle Bank, Security First Bank, First National Bank of Omaha, Beatrice Branch, First State Bank Nebraska, Beatrice Branch, and Bank of the West. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 name the following as the depository banks for Beatrice Public Schools: Pinnacle Bank, Security First Bank, First National Bank of Omaha, the Beatrice Branch, First State Bank Nebraska, the Beatrice Branch, and Bank of the West.
All right, thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Anything to add to that, Jason?
No, I think that pretty much covers this.
Any discussion? If not, can I have your votes, please? Motion passes. All right, next up, designate the Beatrice Daily Sun as the official newspaper of record. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 designate the Beatrice Daily Sun as the official newspaper of record.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any discussion? If not, can I see your votes, please? Motion passes. All right, approval of current board policies and regulations, per policy 8130. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the current board policies and regulations.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Anything to add to that, Jason?
No, if we make the change to the meeting policy, then that will in effect go into effect in the next meetings.
Okay. All right. Can I have your votes, please? And that is approved. Okay, approve repairs at Beatrice Middle School. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the quotes from Prairie Mechanical for the repairs at Beatrice Middle School.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Anything to add to this, Jason?
Just that some of these repairs are repairs that have come along in the fall, and we've been able to get by without doing them right away, but now we're kind of at a point where we need to do them. Some of them have just come along over Christmas break, so it's one of those things where we need to make sure that we're keeping up. I did send out a list of those repairs to you. If you didn't get that, let me know, I can get that to you, but just to kind of keep a running total for you as to what we're working on. There are also some repairs that are on that list that there's no need to work on them now because they're outside repairs, so we'll be bringing those to you as we get closer to summertime as well.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. All right, next up, discuss, consider, and take all necessary action regarding policy 9300 as it pertains to regular meetings and committee of the whole meeting dates and times. Do I have a motion for what we just discussed?
I move that we move the committee of the whole meeting to 5:30 on the fourth Monday of each month, and the regular board meeting start time to 6 p.m., but it'll stay on the second Monday of the month.
Perfect. Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any further discussion around that? All right, seeing none, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Okay, thank you. All right, Administrator's report. Mr. Alexander.
So as we approach the legislative season, obviously there will be a lot to report on coming. Tonight's report of the stance just kind of gives you a brief update as to where we are. There is one other major federal change to talk about a little bit and just update you on. In a pivotal decision, the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Kentucky vacated the 2024 Title IX regulations. So what does that mean? Well, it means, as you know, Title IX is one of those things that it seems like kind of every year we're saying, well, this could change and this could change. Well, now that that decision has been made, schools will have to revert back to the Title IX requirements framework, which was required immediately pending the Title IX action that just took place. So we will be, typically we don't have a lot of policies to update in the middle of the year, but we will be bringing those to you probably at the January Cal meeting, or as soon as they're available from legal counsel to revert back to as a result of that decision by the higher court. So that's coming our way. We'll be talking to you about some preschool policy at the January Committee of the Whole meeting as well. And other than that, I just want to welcome our 2 new members and thank you all for the reorganization tonight that I feel like went fairly smooth. And just a congratulations to Dr. Nielsen on her award, and thank you for all you do for our kids.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Conflict of interest?
Oh, we do have conflict of interest forms. If you have one, or if you need a form, please let us know. We can get those filled out in the next couple of days. If you're not sure if you have a conflict of interest, just email me and ask, and if we see one, we'll point that out and send you one. If not, some of you already know if you have those or not as well. So we will have those on. That way they're on record in the office.
Okay. All right, any other questions for Jason tonight? All right, seeing none, notification of next meeting. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be February 10th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Administration Building. The Committee of the Whole meeting will be January 27th at 5:30 p.m. in the Administration Building. An agenda for the meeting, which shall be kept continually current, is readily available for public inspection at the Superintendent's office during normal business hours. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 adjourn.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Your votes, please. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.